start questions right now.
Do you have a comment?
Something.
Why don't you go ahead?
I don't know. Not really a comment, man. I'm glad to be back home. I just want to thank Mrs. Sarver and Alvin and kind of my agent for just making sure we all were very respectful to each other during this process. I mean, it went by pretty quick, and I'm just happy I can stay home. I think the stuff I'm kind of hearing is people think the Suns aren't going to be anything this year, and I think that's kind of the same thing people thought last year. So, just keep that going. And for us, with Amari leaving, I know everybody's going to ask about that. So, with Amari leaving, people just got to step their game up, and I think people shouldn't underestimate Robin. People shouldn't underestimate me or the will of this team. I think everybody saw it last year. So, we still have Steve Nash, we still have Alvin Gentry, we still got Grant Hill, Jason Richardson, Jared Dudley, Leandro Goron, myself. So we've got a pretty good team still. So just stick with us and just kind of watch what happens. I think you're going to see a lot of growth from a lot of young guys, and just this kind of just moving on to a new era of Suns basketball. And I think I'm excited to be a part of it for a long time.
How nice is it, Channing, to get the business side out of the way?
Man, free agency, I watched that LeBron thing, and he was like, he likes that kind of stuff. I hate free agency. It's, I just like I said, I think the biggest thing was I just want to be somewhere for a long time, and a long time in the NBA's got 4 or 5 years. So for me, just knowing that I'm going to be here and just have a chance to grow with this team and with the people that we have, man, it just gives me more motivation for me to get better and for me to just really look at what we did last year and just try to just work on that and just try to just build on those. Just use that as a building block for the rest of the time I'm here.
Shane, you talk about getting better. Where do you think you need to improve the most?
You know what? Overall, I would just kind of say from last year, just being more explosive, probably. I think you kind of saw at the end of the year that one dribble pull up and putting the ball on the ground. Just being able to maybe, 1 or 2 dribbles now and definitely work on my post game a little bit. I think the face up jumper is kind of my go-to thing. Just being able to have some counter moves to that and to just overall just get better. Just working with the trainers that we have here to get stronger, faster, quicker, more explosive, I think is another thing I can do. Work on my athleticism and make sure that working with them over 1 year, I saw where they took me. Where my body has been, and now just being able to stick with that same system and work, more, especially when I go back to Portland. It's huge for me, and I think you're going to see, just a little bit, probably a little faster, more athletic team.
Would you like to start, or do you want to keep coming off the bench?
You know what? That's not really my decision, nor do I care. I think last year I did pretty much the same things I did starting as I did coming off the bench. So for me, it's whatever works for the team. I don't really care. I know Coach Gentry. I completely trust him and his decisions of what's best for the team. And hey, let's battle it out during training camp. We're just gonna make each other better anyway. So, I'm cool.
You mentioned Hakeem. What do you think he's going to bring to the table?
I've actually known Hakeem since we were like 17, 18 years old. So I played with him before, and he's another skilled guy but just freaky athletic. He's going to bring those little things to a team. He can shoot, he can run, he can definitely finish around the basket. I think, he's a tough cover, because of his length. He's great on the offensive glass. So for us, he's going to bring that athleticism that, maybe Lou, depending on what happens with him and with Amari. So he's not Amari. He's not going to be, anybody else that you've probably ever seen. He's a unique kind of player, and he's exciting to watch. So just give him a chance before you kind of write us all off.
Channing, a lot was said about how cohesive you all were as a team and in the locker room. Do you think any of that changes with Amari leaving?
No. I think that the best thing about this team is that we always had motivation to get better, and so for us, it's just, we lose Amari and we understand, hey, he has to do what's best for him, but you look at the core group of guys, we lose one and we gain 3 good quality guys, 2 guys from the draft and Hakeem, and I'm excited to come back, man. I was talking to Grant. I think I called Grant the first guy I called after, I agreed to my deal with Mr. Sarver and Alvin. So I got a text from Steve, JD and Jay Rich, all those guys are really glad that I came back. And, that type of chemistry, it can only get better, Everybody's kind of where they were last year, and we understand where we can go and what it takes to get there. I think we just want to, it's just more motivation to work harder and to challenge ourselves to get better.
Channing, you talked a little bit about what people expect of the Suns or don't expect, but what do you expect of them?
You know what? I expect us to get better every day like we did last year. I think if we look like, hey, we want to go to the Western Conference Finals, then I don't think that's a proper goal for us because, who knows what we might do next year. After this year, I can't say we won't go to the championship and win it. Who would have thought if I would have said we were going to Western Conference Finals, people would have thought we were crazy at the beginning of the year, So for me, it's just about us taking training camp seriously, taking the summertime seriously, and getting better every single day. And I think the fans will get a better quality of game that way because we'll take every single regular season game serious. We're not going to just be like, well, let's just cruise until the playoffs because we're not good enough to do that. I'll tell you that right now. But the fact that we're not good enough to just cruise makes the game more exciting for us. It makes us better, and it brings us together.
Did you ever consider actually leaving?
You know what? I think at the beginning, you just have to have a clean slate about it, but it was tough, man. I was in Hawaii, so everybody was like, I was there with Coach Olsen and them, and he was like, I was like, Coach, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to go back home. And he was like, well, we'll try to see you when you play the Suns, and just a little comment like that. I was like, man, I can't even drive down to Tucson or, I can't, see, I can't go to the church I go to. And there's just different things that played into being like, we got to get this deal done. I was actually on the golf course the next day when we were going through the deal. So I had to have my brother-in-law hit for me all the time. I was just in the car on the phone, like going through stuff, calling my wife, calling, my agent, just going through the stuff. Like, man, look, like, just this was just overwhelmingly the right place for me to be. And I just wanted to make sure that it worked out with, with Alvin and Mr. Summer.
Is it doubly sweet because one, you get the deal you wanted, and two, with the team and the town and the city you wanted?
It's, well, yeah, I'll count that as three, sorry.
Yeah,
So it's like,
that.
I feel like, the deal is pretty fair, and I feel like I just want to earn that continuously. I think it's not just okay, now I can cruise. I just don't have a motor like that. I think, I want to try and earn that, do hard work, and whether I can do that in the eyes of the fans, hey, I'm just going to put the work in like I did last year, I still got a lot to prove. I still feel like, we can do some things, and I still feel like I can really help this team out. And, I can't tell you how happy it is to just be back home in the heat and, get to deal with 111 weather for another couple of years.
How much interest did you receive from other teams?
I thought we had about as much interest as I thought there would be. So, what the crazy thing was is everybody's like, hey, we like you a lot, but we are just going to give 98% of our attention to those big five guys. So, which kind of how everybody else is around the league. Everybody was just waiting, kind of twiddling their thumbs until LeBron and D-Wade and Chris Bosh and Boots and those guys made their decision. But Phoenix was adamant about getting the deal done, and I was like, hey, if you want me that bad and I want to go back that bad, there can't be nothing wrong with that. So, we just worked it out, and I think it was the right thing for me. It was the right thing for my family, and I grew up here, so why not raise my kid here?
Do you feel like if you would have held out or waited longer now that the big guys are signing, that maybe you would have gotten more money?
Yeah, that's not mine. That wasn't my goal, to just kind of stick my head in the sand during this whole thing and not pay attention. I mean, Phoenix was like, look, we want to get this done in the next couple of days. We want you here. Let's get this done. And I was like, hey, I'd rather get it done early and have the rest of the summer just focus on what you want. And plus, it's a lot of stress, man. It's just, it's just too much stress. And, like I told you guys at the beginning, man, there's no way that free agency is fun. It's like, man, do I leave? Do I go? Do I do this? Do I uproot my whole family and leave? It's just not fun, man. So for me, I don't got to deal with it for another 5 years, so I'm good to go, man.